At the National Cathedral in Washington, D.C., their faces are carved in stone, their accomplishments etched in history. Champions of human rights you know well: Rosa Parks, Mother Teresa, Eleanor Roosevelt. But one name, one face peering from the rock is known by few outside his hometown. Jonathan Daniels, from Keene, New Hampshire, a modern-day saint. He proved his humanity and strength in the summer of 1965. During the height of the civil rights struggle in racist Alabama, the 26-year-old seminary student stepped in front of a shotgun blast meant for a young black teenager.
Jonathan Daniels is an American hero who died so that we could all vote freely, and yet most people in New Hampshire and America have no idea who he is.
Author Sandra and Rich Wallace discovered Jonathan after moving to Keene. His name kept popping up.
We'd go to Historical Society events and we'd hear the name Jonathan Daniels, and we'd notice that there was a school named after him. And the more we learned about him, we said, this is not just a local story in any way.
Blood Brother tells the story of Jonathan Daniels' sacrifices for civil rights.
This is an unlawful assembly. You are ordered to disperse.
After Bloody Sunday, when state troopers clubbed and tear-gassed peaceful protesters, Jonathan answered Martin Luther King Jr.'s call and traveled to Selma, Alabama. King asked Northern clergy, particularly white clergy, to come south and march alongside blacks for equal voting rights. Jonathan, who was studying at what is now the Episcopal Divinity School in Cambridge, Massachusetts, planned to stay for the weekend. He ended up in Alabama 5 months.
Most of the white civil rights workers who went to Selma decided to go back and get on with their lives, and that didn't sit well with Jonathan.
As Jonathan became more involved, the stakes got higher and the danger greater. After just 48 hours in Selma, James Reeb, a minister who arrived with Jonathan, was beaten to death by an angry white mob outside a Ku Klux Klan hangout. He was the first white civil rights worker murdered in 1965. Far from affording him respect and protection, Jonathan's clerical collar made him a marked man.
Jonathan refused to be intimidated, and it became apparent to him that if he continued to stand by his convictions, which he was 100% committed to do, that his life was in danger, and he was willing to take that risk.
No surprise to Jonathan's childhood friend Bob Perry, who could see early on Jonathan's life building to a heroic moment.
Well, John was 11 days older than I am. So the story that I get is that we first met in the nursery down at the old Elliott Community Hospital here in Keene.
Jonathan was more introspective than most kids. Smart, too, he just didn't study. His turning point came one night after sneaking out for a joyride with friends. He crawled out the second-story bathroom window, crossed the roof, then climbed down a ladder.
John slipped and fell. He missed the cement walkway, landed dirt or whatever, and it may have been snow. It was February.
Jonathan was busted up, hospitalized for a month.
He had a lot of time to think about where he was in his life and where he wanted to go in his life. I think he faced up to the fact that he was starting to drift.
Jonathan's focus turned to the church. Religious from an early age, drawing a bishop and a chalice on a 4th grade spelling test, and singing in the youth choir, but becoming increasingly unhappy with the first Congregational church he grew up in.
Jonathan was drawn more to ceremony, and the Congregational church was a little plain for him. So when he was in high school, not the rest of his family, but he converted to Episcopalianism, and this became his home church.
Years later, as a seminary student, Jonathan would give his first sermon here at St. James in downtown Keene.
There are more souls to be reached. The body of Christ has something to say. Someday, after I have been ordained, I hope to be invited again to preach in this church. And if I am, I shall remind you of your responsibility to preach the risen Christ with your every motion, your every word, your every breath.
Jonathan would never preach at St. James again. Gunned down on the streets of Alabama, pushing aside 17-year-old Ruby Sales when a white part-time sheriff's deputy aimed his 12-gauge shotgun right at her.
I didn't even have a chance to turn around. Neither did John have a chance to turn around. And the next thing I knew, someone had pulled me from behind. And I stumbled to the side. And the next thing I knew, I heard a shotgun blast.
I hear shots. And I think, and I see Jonathan's body flying up in the sky, as if it were flying up in the sky. And I say to myself, this is what you're dead. This is what it means to be dead.
In the struggle for civil rights, there was no place more dangerous than Lowndes County, Alabama. Segregation was enforced by violence, lynching rampant. Its nickname, Bloody Lowndes. Jonathan Daniels, who had been organizing in Selma, was itching to move on to Lowndes County, where voting rights were under siege.
He was not going to accept no once he thought that it was necessary for a white person to be in Lowndes County.
Jonathan would become the first white civil rights worker in Lowndes County, working closely with Ruby Sales, who skipped classes at nearby Tuskegee University to join the Freedom Fighters. She's now 68 years old and living in Atlanta, Georgia.
I thought he was a very complex, multidimensional, loyal, push the envelope kind of person.
At the time, 80% of Lowndes County was black, and not one of them had ever cast a vote. Despite threats from segregationists, Jonathan, Ruby, and the legendary Stokely Carmichael would canvass the neighborhoods, mostly farms, danger around every corner.
It was incredibly frightening to be riding down Highway 80, and all of a sudden, 2 pickup trucks would appear, and they would have guns on their racks.
One Saturday afternoon on a sweltering August day, Jonathan and Ruby joined about 20 teenage protesters from Fort Deposit, who were picketing stores that forced blacks to enter from a back door and pay higher prices for goods.
When we got there that morning, there was a white mob waiting for us with baseball bats, garbage cans, yelling and screaming. It was terrifying.
Within minutes, they were arrested and hauled off to the Hayneville jail on a garbage truck. That's Jonathan entering the squalid jail, thinking he'd be released in 2 hours. Instead, they spent 6 long, hot, humid days in tiny, crowded cells with overflowing toilets and no running water.
It was filthy. It was hot. We were terrified because the jailer said that we were going to be raped.
But yet their spirits were never broken, Jonathan lifting up the others.
I'm sure he trembled in his boots at many points in being in jail. But I think his courage and his resolve outweighed his fear.
He would lead them in song, their voices heard blocks away.
Do you want your freedom? Certainly, Lord. Do you want your freedom? Certainly, Lord. Certainly, 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 Lord. That's how we got through. Without music, we would not have made it. So every opportunity we got, we were singing. Those freedom songs were our lifeline.
And then abruptly, on the 6th day in jail, August 20th, 1965, they were released. No bail, no explanation.
We knew something instinctively didn't feel right. Not only because he let us out and there was nobody to meet us, but also what didn't feel right, the streets were empty.
Jonathan, Ruby, and 2 others, another black teenage girl and a young white Catholic priest, headed across the street to buy a soda at Varner's cash store. Waiting for them at the door, Tom Coleman, a white part-time sheriff's deputy with a loaded 12-gauge shotgun.
And it happens so fast. He says, B-I-T-C-H. I'll blow your GD brains out. Because I'm in the front. And before I can process the meaning of the words, Jonathan pulls on my blouse. And the next thing I know, shotgun blasts. I hear shots. And I think, and I see Jonathan's body flying up in the sky, as if it were flying up in the sky. And I say to myself, this is what you're dead. This is what it means to be dead.
In that split second, Jonathan pushed Ruby aside, protecting her life, sacrificing his own. Ruby lay still. Another shotgun blast. Tom Coleman hit the Catholic priest in the back. He would survive. The other teen escaped. The murder scene was quickly cleaned up as if nothing had happened.
Obviously, I was traumatized by the whole experience. For months I couldn't talk. I mean, I could speak, but I wouldn't speak.
It wasn't until Tom Coleman's trial 1 month later that Ruby found the words.
Well, what was great for me is that you have to understand, I was defending Jonathan that day, and that made me feel good that I was saying to the courtroom what he would never get an opportunity to say.
Tom Coleman claimed he acted in self-defense and was acquitted by an all-white, all-male jury.
When I walked out of that courtroom and got to the privacy of my own room, you can imagine how I cried. And what I cried for was not for myself, but for the fact that Jonathan was no longer there.
Ruby left Alabama and after many stops settled here in Atlanta, devoting her life to racial, economic, and social justice.
I felt it was an opportunity and a gift to give back to the world that which had been given to me.
In Keene, on the day of Jonathan Daniels' murder, his best friend Bob Perry ran into Jonathan's mother, who was celebrating her birthday at a local restaurant.
She hadn't heard from him. She was very worried. John never forgot her birthday.
On the way home, Bob and the world learned Jonathan was dead.
If your last wish in life is, I want to have left the place better off than what I found it, he certainly did.
The Episcopal Church declared Jonathan a saint in 1991. He's recognized at Canterbury Cathedral in England near a shrine to Thomas Becket, the Archbishop of Canterbury murdered in the cathedral. Here, just feet from the Trinity Chapel, you'll find a tribute to Jonathan along with Martin Luther King in the Chapel of Saints and Martyrs. They are the only 2 20th century Americans honored here.
Nobody was conscious of wanting to fit into a small box called history. We were just doing our work.
More than a half century after his death, Jonathan Daniels' mission is still relevant today. In the words of his long ago sermon, more souls must be reached.
Do you want your freedom? Certainly, Lord. Do you want your freedom? Certainly, Lord. Certainly, 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 Lord.